Subsidy regime is a burden to the country, Minister of Finance tells House of Representatives. Speaker unveils digital platform to harness ideas of Nigerian youth. And attack on Kuje Custodial Center. House of Representatives begins investigation. Hello, this is You and Your Reps on the NTA. I'm Victor, as welcome. The Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, says subsidy regime is a burden as it has put the country in dire financial situation. Now, National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali tells us that while making submissions to the House of Representatives Committee investigating petrol subsidy, the minister said funding of subsidy is neither desirable nor sustainable.
Fuel subsidy is costing Nigeria trillions of naira. For 2022 alone, 4 trillion naira is approved as expenditure for fuel subsidy from the 17.1 trillion naira budget of the federal government.
Could have been funds that will apply to other vital sectors of the economy, such as health, education, and social protection. So we are carrying the burden that we must sit back as citizens and really assess whether it is beneficial for us to continue.
There are concerns following allegations of sharp practices in the entire payment process on subsidy. This ad hoc committee is saddled with the task of finding out the actual payments on subsidy and the beneficiaries.
We are talking of daily consumption, Monday through Sunday to Monday again. No public holidays. In fact, during the COVID-19, when there is a lockdown and limited movements, the consumption rate remains the same.
Nigerians would like to know, we spent 884 billion in 2015. I'm just taking 1 year. What quantity did this give to us?
The Federal Inland Revenue Service told the committee that though it is responsible for collection and sharing of tax among the 3 tiers of government, it lacks power to monitor utilization.
About subsidy, we don't know anything about subsidy.
FIRS added that it receives oil tax in both naira and dollars and that all figures are published in its annual statements.
Meanwhile, the Speaker, House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, says it is essential to create a forum for Nigerian youths to facilitate and sustain debate on economic and social development. Now, this was while unveiling via virtual means a digital platform that will serve as a database for Nigerians to table ideas.
I am committed to doing all I can to help make that future possible.
Young persons of diverse backgrounds from across the country are here to initiate ideas, providing a pool for policymakers for a better Nigeria.
These are the forms of encouragement we as youth need to help ourselves also help the country to become a better place.
We've not had any viral policy document that, will ensure that we better the lives of our youth.
Gbajabiamila says now is the time to refocus public debate on key matters of nation building and address the clamor for inclusion from the various segments of society. This event coincides with the International Youth Day celebration with the theme Intergenerational Solidarity, creating awareness for a world for all ages.
One of the windows of the Ideas Bank is to help collate knowledge resource from every citizen and stakeholder. International partners, you can look at a problem from your own angle and suggest a solution.
We're very confident that by the time these ideas are codified, they're put together, it's something that when we put forward, it will get a better reception than has been gotten in past administrations.
To engage international development partners and agencies of government to fast-track the advocacy.
The House of Representatives Joint Committee on Reformatory Institutions and National Security and Intelligence has commenced investigation into the attack on the Kuje Custodial Center. The lawmakers visited the facility to get information firsthand relating to the July 5, 2022 attack.
The House of Representatives considers the prison break at the Kuje Custodial Center a breach on national security. Parliament by this visit wants to identify the causes, ascertain the extent of damage to the facility, and measures taken to avoid a repeat.
More worrisome was the circumstances under which attack was carried out without any resistance by the security guards or arrest of any of the terrorists during the operation or after till date.
What really happened in the last attack of this center?
Whatever is expected of us to assist in this investigation, the Nigerian Correctional Service will definitely cooperate with the committee.
The assignment also involves engagements of the intelligence community for enhanced collaboration.
The appointment of a Director General on Climate Change by President Muhammadu Buhari will fast-track federal government's ambition of attaining net zero emissions as contained in the action plan. Sponsor of Nigeria's climate change bill, now Act of the National Assembly, Sam Onuibo says the recent meeting with the UK-packed team and counterparts from the Foreign and Commonwealth Development Office seeks to facilitate effective implementation of the Act and Nigeria's COP27 priorities, as both require teamwork.
They are there to contribute, for us as a nation to achieve our set objectives as contained in the Act. And where we don't have the technical know-how or the skills, they can also provide the skills and then provide whatever other assistance, capacity building, for us to be able to go ahead. Because when you talk about working out a carbon budget, it requires some sophistication or some training. It's not it's not a walk in the park. So things like that are available. You can get it from the UK pack, and they are willing to support.
Now, the meeting discussed areas of partnership to address challenges through training, funding, and sharing of skills. From time to time, you hear a member ask for suspension of the rules. But does that mean chaos, as can be implied when there is absence of rules? Well, let's find out what that means and in what context it is used. As usual, Chairman of the House Committee on Rules and Business, Abubakar Fulata, is our guide.
One rule that is mostly suspended is Order 8, Rule 4. Order 8 provides for matters of urgent national importance. The rule provides that whenever there's an issue which threatens lives and property of Nigerians, House attends to it immediately. So, whenever an emergency arises, a member wishing to table a motion will now request Mr. Speaker, draw the attention of Mr. Speaker through citing that Order 8, Rule 4, that he wants to move a motion under that because the matter is urgent. The Speaker will now request that House accepts. Now, to enable a matter to be considered because there are, even when the House considers that, yes, a matter is urgent, by urgency it means the House will now accept to take that matter immediately, but will suspend deliberation till the next day. But now, members want the matter to be taken immediately, not delayed to the next day. They will move that, okay, the relevant section be suspended entirely to enable the matter to be taken immediately. Once it is done, then when that relevant section of the rule is suspended, the matter is taken, then the member is allowed to move that motion, and the House will decide immediately on that motion.
The mandatory inclusion of teaching of breast and cervical cancers into senior secondary schools curriculum in Nigeria Bill 2022 was sponsored by Chairman of the House Committee on Healthcare Services, Yusuf Tanko Sununu. Now, what does the bill seek to achieve, and how close is it to becoming law? Let's find out from the sponsor of the bill, who also speaks on the Federal College of Education Technical Yauri Establishment Bill.
Gynecologist, as I mentioned earlier, and I have seen the burden of diseases in the country as a medical practitioner before coming here. And one of the leading cancers that women are dying is cancer of cervix and cancer of the breast. But there is one thing key to those two cancers that definitely is a good omen. They are detectable early and they are also preventable. But they are the major burden in terms of morbidity and mortality of cancer in Nigeria. So if we know that really is something that can be prevented and is detected, why don't we arm our younger ones with knowledge? Look, these are the signs. If your daughter, age of 14, 15, the mother told her that, look, when you don't supposed to have any solid this in your breast. Please, when you are bathing, once you touch something and see there is something hard there, please let me know. And then she quickly, when she was bathing and she felt something, and she come and told the mother. And you take her quickly. The mother is knowledgeable, and you took her home quickly, and then it is detected. It can be removed early without even removing the breast. But when you allow that, you lose the breast, you lose even the patient. That's one. Now, when you know that really, cancer of the cervix is preventable, and the major fertilizing factor for it to thrive is multiple sexual partners. And then you educate the younger one, the girl child, to maintain her virginity. You develop that cultural destiny. It means the less that this thing will prevent her in getting cancer of the cervix. And then to that you added, we all know that this cancer is an infectious disease. It's caused by human papillomavirus, HPV. And then now there is also a vaccine that is given to prevent those who have not been exposed to the virus to get the virus that will cause them cancer of the cervix. And then you give it to those who are not exposed. And then you know that the girl child is educated, she has not been exposed, and you immunize her at the age of 14. But you understand? It means the number of people that will develop cancer of the cervix. Now we look at it, this, we all know that the concept of prevention is much, much cheaper than curative services. And that is why even the health system in Nigeria, that is the major mistake, major omission, that we, as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to make it a case when we come to the Health Reforms Committee deliberation, that we overemphasize more on curative rather than preventive services. And those curative services require high ceiling machines, it requires highly trained personnel, it requires high cost, and when you are also, when the need comes, it brings family down to the level of extreme poverty. Now, if those things we can educate and hammer on preventive services, for example, everybody knows cholera is killing every rainy season. If you educate your people that, look, all this that you are going to defecate at the bank river side, the first rain will push everything to the river, and you come and fetch it without boiling or anything, and you drink it. Then people will come down with vomiting and diarrhea. And then the money that will have been used to provide toilets and other services there will have been used to stop that outbreak. And then even if you stop the outbreak, that outbreak may likely will have claims on life. Those that you cannot pay for them and you cannot this. So that is the essence of why I think that, since I know as a gynecologist, breast and cervical cancer is a major cause of cancer in the female age. And you know, do you want funny thing? If you look at the statistics, worst affected even locally here the poor. I'm happy that my colleagues gave 100% that bill. Not only gave it a 100% support, they are also working to ensure that it has been passed. And very soon, as soon as I will have come back, this one of the bill that we are going to list, that is listed for public hearing, so that people will come and give some will even give their testimony to support it. And we are working closely with a lot of foundations in the country to ensure that the UIC Foundation is an internationally based in Australia. We are working with them together. We are also working with the Medicaid Foundation, of the wife of the Cape State Governor, to also get that bill. And very soon we are planning to see how we can address FLAC. That's First Lady Against Cancer, the wife of some governors that come together to work against cancers, so that we can also work and get their support and input in developing that concept. And we must also engage major stakeholders, like the clerics, both Islamic and Christian, so that they should understand the view. Otherwise, you allow it in the era of social media. We can have a good intention, but it can be diluted with so many things under this. So that's really, and I'm excellently happy that you have mentioned this issue, because it's really a national issue and it's a serious challenge to our society that we must come together to address. For example, the prevention of cervical cancer, all you need attitude. Develop the attitude of people to stop abusing young guns. Develop the attitude of the young guns to stop accepting those that will abuse them. And then prevention. All this, when you put them per child may not cost you up to 30,000 naira. But if that child is to come with advanced stage 4B, cancer of the cervix, you may need 3 million. And the outcome is you may end up just have life and be staying in the, what do you call, palliative care. Reduce pain, reduce smell and everything. You are not giving 3, it's just palliative. But that palliative will cost 3 million. So which one? We have the option to choose. Definitely everybody will go for what you can take you 30,000 to, rather than waiting for you to expend 3 million. For example, I'm just kidding. And not only that, if you consider that many people will not go to work, they must somebody must be stationed to be taking care of her. I know that as far as my constituency is concerned, we are left behind in terms of having an institution of learning, whether state or federal. And then if you look at the history of the emirate I'm representing, the constituency, Yauri Shenge Ingeski, we have the first professor in Kebbi, Sokoto and Zamfara. We have so many professors in that area. Currently, the emir of Yauri is also a former vice chancellor of Usman Danfodio University, and is also currently holding the title of vice chancellor emeritus of Usman Danfodio University. But unfortunately, we didn't have any institution that people can go and get NCE diploma. With that in mind, I sponsored a bill which was widely accepted by the House, and it got concurred with in the Senate, and then President assented to that bill on the 20th of July, establishing Federal College of Education Technical in Yauri. Currently, we are working hard to ensure that there is smooth takeoff of the college in this in the coming financial year.
The lingering strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, is again generating concerns, at this time from affected students and parents. Let's take you to the streets of Abuja to hear what they have to say.
We're coping, but I eat now, I sleep and I wake up, and I'm learning a skill. I'm learning non-linear editing, so trying to get a skill and and look beyond ASU strike. They should settle their difference with the federal government as quickly as possible, so that I don't personally, in fact, I already have an extra year now, so that it doesn't extend to 2.
My daughter is also affected. In fact, she's not happy. The course of 4 years that is supposed to finish maybe 2023 They've made it almost 6 years now. So I don't know how our government and ASUU will reach conclusion and settle this their misunderstanding so that children can go back to class. It's really affecting. In fact, we parents, we are not happy. We are depressed. Can you imagine you are going out in the morning, you leave your grown-up daughter at home, and we cannot even take her to go and be learning work. It will be like maybe tomorrow they will call off strike. The only what I could do is to go and be learning catering around the neighborhood.
Most of our leaders or the elites, they don't have their children schooling in the country. So because something that you don't have any vested interest, you show some kind of nonchalant attitude about it. So the ASUU strike is as a result of failure of the system, self-centeredness of our leaders, and if we don't arrest it now, we are going to have a complete breakdown of law and order.
Personally, I'm not affected, but I know people that are being held back by the strike because they don't feel useful, they don't have anything to do, and they're wasting their money, wasting their funds on school fees, getting students accommodation, all for it to be wasted at the end of the day because it's not being used for anything. They have to settle with the government because this is our education we're talking about. It's not a trivial issue.
This week on You and Your Reps, the committee segment turns attention to urban development and regional planning. We had Deputy Chairman of the committee, Ibrahim Al-Mustafa Aliyu, speak on the prospects and challenges in the sector.
There are a lot of overlaps because the urban development and regional planning essentially will have main focus on the urban centers. Now the only urban center under the federal purview or the purview of the committee, you understand, is Abuja. And we have committees on FCT and committees on other committees, you know. So, but still, there's a department under Federal Ministry of Works, Department of Urban Development and Regional Planning, and we are doing our best to ensure that other urban or semi-urban centers, including slums that we have in the urban centers, are upgraded through provisions of basic amenities. You see cities, within cities, you see other cities. You understand? For the downtrodden. A good example is the Lagos, when you talk about Obalandi and other places. In Abuja here, the satellite towns coming up. So that department provide the basic necessary amenities to those slums, and then upgrade them, to be, effectively integrated into the main city with the basic infrastructure and other amenities that are required. It's not aligned to responsibility because it's committed by budgetary allocation. The total budgetary ceiling of that department as at last two budget was no more than 3 billion naira. So now think about what 3 billion can do to all the slums we have in the country. Very limited. So the committee is working towards raising the ceiling of the department and seeing what we can achieve there. It's a very good department if given due attention. You understand? When the country is looking for money to finance development, the capital component, and the money is not there. So you see, development is being limited by what you have. When more resources comes, then ceilings can be raised. You can't give what you don't have. We are working to lay a solid foundation for that committee and essentially to the department. You understand, to see that they have a more higher allocation in 2023 so that they can touch more lives and change most of the horrible living conditions in the slums.
Well, I guess we'll be following the committee's activities very closely, especially when the next appropriation falls due, to see what improvement there is. Now, this is where we draw the curtain on you and your reps. Many thanks for watching. I'm Victor Azu. See you next time.